Stop this day and night with me, and you shall possess the origin of all poems. You shall possess the good of the earth and sun. There are millions of suns left. You shall no longer take things at second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the specters and books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. You shall listen to all sides and filter them. I don't think there were any real epiphanies that led me into teaching. I think it was a kind of gradual experience. I think it was the subject as much as the teaching itself that drew me into the field. I think when I was young I had no idea about being a teacher. I wasn't sure I particularly liked teachers. But I knew there was a lot of stuff I did like. I liked reading. When I was, even around the age of 10 or so, I think I liked Tolkien a lot. Later on I liked Poe, and then I started liking Shakespeare. And it wasn't just the kind of literary historical aspects of that stuff. Really not that at all, because I didn't know much about it. It was quite often the rhythm of the words, the way things sounded. I was attracted to language as much as story or context or any of those things. And I think that's something that's stuck with me all along. Mainly it's because I like reading, and there's some texts that I like more than others, and I like reading them to people and telling them that I like them and hoping that they like them too. And Whitman is packed full of that stuff, but so is Melville's Moby Dick, so is Thoreau's Walden, so are Hawthorne's novels. For some reason I've never found an area so rich for that kind of exchange of liking things as the writers that we usually consider the figures of the American Renaissance in the 1840s and 50s. I'm not sure why that is. I think one of the things that I enjoy most about teaching is finding out stuff that other people haven't noticed before. And one thing that helped me do that was a phrenological head. That's what this is. And Edgar Allan Poe was someone who, if you look at his photographs, seems inordinately proud of the ridges on the sides of his forehead. He has a kind of bulbous head. And the reason for that is that if you look at a phrenological head, and these were very popular in the years when Poe was trying to become a famous author. There were phrenological consultation shops all over major cities. Anyway, if you look at a phrenological head from that era, you'll see that right here, the most bulbous part of Poe's head is the lobe of ideality. It's the lobe of expansiveness, refinement, and perfection. Exactly the attributes that Poe claimed to want to possess as a poet. So, if you look at stuff from the 19th century, all the accumulated junk that people ignore or don't include in conventional literary studies that focus exclusively on texts, you begin to make fascinating little connections like this. And I think that's one of the chief joys that I have as a literary scholar. In a gradual process. If I have to look at turning points, I think there were moments of transition in my life from one place to another. I think one turning point was deciding to apply to graduate school in the first place and not become a health club manager. Another turning point was when I got into the University of Miami and went there. Another turning point was, I think when I look back, one of the most profound was getting into Harvard, because I'd never expected that I would be able to do that. And that really changed everything, and I think made it possible for me to believe that a teaching career as a professor would be possible. But maybe even more powerfully, getting a position at Hope College 10 years ago changed my life in a dramatic way. Moving from Boston to West Michigan has been certainly a life-changing experience. I've been a city person my whole life. Now I live far out in the country. I've never really had the experience either of being a teacher all the time, the way I am here, and interacting with students and colleagues on a daily basis. Before I'd been much more of a researcher. And so coming here really changed the direction of my career from one that was focused on the minutiae of very obscure scholarly books books to one in which I'm trying to explain the big picture to new crops of students on an annual basis. And I think on the whole that's for the better. I don't know that there's any kind of impact beyond the individuals that I work with on a day-to-day basis, and I hope it's for the best. I think the biggest impact of being a professor probably is on me, on what I think about things and how I change my teaching in response to the people I meet and the things that I read. That's where a lot of the opportunity is going to be for people who are interested in English and history and philosophy in the years to come. There are so many new tools that we can use to enhance disciplines that have, I think, in the last generation or so begun to become somewhat stiff and ossified and lacking in new things to do. And the Digital Humanities is a way of taking all kinds of new interactive, collaborative, new tools, new interfaces, new methods for accessing scholarly information that before was confined to books that few people could read, and for bringing together people who otherwise would not engage in the scholarly conversation. I don't really consider myself a digital humanist exactly. I consider myself someone who recognizes the value of the digital humanities and how important it is for the college to begin moving in directions that can capitalize on that value. I'm somebody who's looking for ways to marshal resources to support faculty members, including me, in due course, as we begin to undertake these experiments using new internet-based tools. But I still don't consider myself a digital humanist yet, although I aspire to become one. I celebrate myself and what I assume you shall assume